End the Fed. End the Fed. What? End the Fed. End the Fed now. Why end the Fed? And who is going to end the Fed? Were you born in a cave? The End the Fed is a national campaign to end the corrupt Federal Reserve and to put us back on a gold standard. Ron Paul Bear and others are going to end the Fed. Oh, Ron Paul Bear power will end the Fed. What? You are going to end the Fed with Ron Bear power. How are you going to do that? First we get more people power and then we are going to audit the Fed. Oh great, another audit of that which you have no right to do. And don't we already know what is in the Fed? Debt, lots of debt. Congress is going to audit the Fed. Congress created the debt, and I thought you just said the people power was going to change the Fed and change the power of money and credit institutions. Did you eat too many wild berries? I said Ron Paul is going to end the Fed. Is this Ron Paul and others, are they friends of yours, that will be auditing and then ending the Fed? Yes. They are friends of mine. Are they congressmen and senators? Yes. Then I say, no, I say, own the Fed. How can you say, own the Fed, when nearly every Paul Bear wants to end the Fed? Because, to end the Fed you would destroy that thing, which you should own. And because, destroying the thing that you should own, makes no sense, and is illogical. Besides, it goes against the natural law. How can you destroy another's property and then claim it as yours and other bears' right to destroy property? Isn't that argument based on might always makes right? We don't want to claim it, we want to end and destroy it. Besides, you don't own the Fed now. And that is why we say, end the Fed now, and first audit the Fed. Well, what if I could show you and your friends a way to own the Fed? Would you still want to end and destroy the Fed? Would you be able as an owner to audit the Fed? Me and my friends can own the Fed? Let's call your friends citizens. Okay, citizens are my friends. Would you agree with the idea that in America, every citizen is an owner? An owner? Yes, in America the citizens are the owners. Of the people, by the people, and for the people. Lincoln said it something like that, yes. American citizens are the owners. It is good you got that right, otherwise we the people would be owned. Stop, you just got me thinking again. We are owned, great. Why are we the people owned? Because we don't own the Fed. I'm beginning to see your point. We are owned because we don't own. Tell me and my friends more about owning, and specifically about owning the Fed. What is ownership? Ownership is part of the natural law of property. Property is a list of rights. A right to control a thing. A right to that which you create or produce, and the fruits or profit your person produces or creates. A right to defend that which is yours. And a right to that which is your own. And if need be to repair. So ownership is a list of rights that citizens cannot forfeit or destroy. Ownership is the relationship between the law and property. You can destroy or forfeit your property but not the relationship to the person and his or her property. Which brings us back to the Fed. What right do we and our friends the other citizens have to destroy or repair the Federal Reserve Bank? We are not owners and therefore have no shareholder or voting property rights. However, if we the people were owners, then we could expand our focus to the ownership relationship to the Fed and, as we have suggested, repair and strengthen that which we own. Ownership should come first. Interesting. So the frustration I and many of my citizen friends have is that we the people have no control of that relationship with the Federal Reserve banks. And the more I think about it, neither does the politicians we put into office. By Ron Paul Bear, I think you are getting it. To expand the focus of ownership allows for every citizen to own. Institutions were created by citizens just like us. Institutions like self-governance are just social tools, and from time to time they break down and are in need of repair. We are only poor bears. But if people ever figure out that we have it within ourselves to change a thing that is broken, we could own the Fed and be in control of what I call the fourth branch of government, access to money and credit. Are you still interested in how we poor bears can gain access and control of the Federal Reserve Bank? All 12 regional banks with a shareholder's right to vote? Yes, so wise bear, please tell this poor bear more about owning the Fed. Owning the Fed is a strategic initiative of capital homesteading for every citizen, and this outline is found in the Declaration of Monetary Justice. One of the articles in this declaration is that every citizen be provided a voting share of all 12 regional banks and allows access to both credit and shareholder rights. More than half of the frustration you mentioned would be eliminated the day capital homesteading is enacted, and hopefully by 2012. Another residual benefit besides owning the Fed with capital homesteading is what was mentioned earlier. It will create ownership power, which will then lead to political power, and finally, money power, for every citizen. I see. Ownership power will move us poor bears beyond the slave mentality and beyond welfare mentality to a real sense of economic democratization, and in the end that is what this bear and my family really need. Not a handout but a hand in the ownership of this country. If what you are saying is true, then I can see that Franklin Roosevelt might have been right when he said, "I will not trade one monopoly for another. I believe the power to issue credit and money belongs to the people, not the hands of a few men." Own the Fed. Own the Fed. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. That old existing reality suggested the idea to me and others that we the people should destroy money and credit and put it in others' hands. This idea makes no sense and is wrong for this bear. And I now see, for the common good, that every citizen and owner is a new model to gain access to money and credit for the common good. Thank you, oh, wise bear. Own or be owned is the motto for owning the Fed. Or we just might have to go back into the cave for another 100 years before we get this right. We the people have a right to own. It is not a right to own we the people. Money power to every citizen. Own the Fed. Own the Fed now. And help pass capital homesteading by 2012. For more information go to ownthefed.org and join the coalition to pass capital homesteading at capitalhomestead.org.
Yo, Dano, where we going with this?
Washington. Let's go.
All you politicians out there in D.C., you better listen up to the land of the free. We're all ticked off and madder than hell. We're gonna start ringing that Liberty Bell. Come on, we the people, now don't be shy, 'cause we're all getting robbed and we're just getting by. Let's all stand together with the heads held high. It's time we get a piece of the American pie. Our nation's a mess and the debt's out of sight, and I'd like to know how you can sleep at night. All you politicians with your fancy perks, do you really need to take a limb to work? Now what kind of leader can you really be when you're all out of touch with reality? You're out of your mind, you don't know what's real. Do you ever worry about your next meal? Come on, we the people, now don't be shy, 'cause we're all getting robbed and we're just getting by. Let's all get together with the heads held high. It's time to get a piece of the American pie.
Are you ready for the second American Revolution?
Yeah.